Hello and welcome everyone. I'm Scott Levin in the Channel 2 studios. We are here for another episode of Get to Know. Special guest today, Bob Nesselbush, who is the CEO of one of the largest employers in Western New York, Kaleida Health. And I have such respect for Kaleida Health and all of the associates you have there. Bob, thanks for joining us today. We appreciate your time.
Well, thanks, Scott. It's my pleasure to be here.
Now, first of all, I want to give you a big congratulations. Top 10 on Buffalo Business First, Power 250 in Western New York. How does it feel to be one of the top 10 Power 250s in Western New York?
Well, very humbling, to say the least. And so the people on that list are respected leaders in this community. And so to be among them is a real honor. But I think it's a true reflection of our organization rather than of me. Really the prominent role that Kaleida plays in taking care of this community. And so I think it's really a reflection of the team and the team members that we have here at Kaleida, and just the recognition of their importance in the community.
Well said, coming from a true leader. There's no doubt about that. Now let's go back to your childhood. I know you grew up in West Seneca, and I believe correct me if I'm wrong, your wife did as well. Tell me about exactly where you grew up and what your childhood was like here.
Both me and my wife did grow up in West Seneca. I grew up right on sort of the West Seneca South Buffalo border, so spent a lot of time at Kaz Park golfing and using the playground and the recreational facilities over there. And so grew up with a family of was one of six. I have 5 sisters, and 4 of that are still in the community here. No brothers, and I have 5 daughters and no sons. So
wow,
just set up for success that way.
So tell me, what kind of a high school student were you? I know you went to W.N.Y in Pennsylvania, beautiful college. Were you always smart growing up in school?
I did pretty well in high school. I had a pretty good memory, and that tends to help you quite a bit when you're in high school. A little bit more challenging as you move up. Played football at West Seneca West, and was fortunate enough to be invited to play at Bucknell University, and so and really found the classes there and the curriculum there to be really challenging. But really was a pivot point in my life, really getting away from home temporarily and really growing a lot on that campus.
You know, I did not know that you played football for Bucknell. Tell me about what you learned about leadership in your college years, especially playing football in college.
You know what? As you get to know me, I'm a real team guy, and so I've been played football since age 8, and really was my primary sport. And really learned as an offensive lineman, I was a center, really about the importance of really working together, being a cohesive unit, really doing your role and doing your job well, in order to help the overall team excel. I think I've enjoyed that on the sporting field, and really it's transferred very well into my work life and my career.
All right, and I believe you graduated Bucknell, and then did you become a CPA quickly after that? I believe you ended up at Price Waterhouse for a few years, right?
Yeah, I actually came back to Buffalo for about a year. I worked for Delaware North. I was the general manager of the retail shop and the restaurant facilities at one of the terminals for about a year while I was figuring out what I wanted to go back to school for. I then went back to got my master's degree at Rochester Institute of Technology, where I focused on public accounting. Upon graduation there, I went to work for Price Waterhouse.
Right, and then you went for a huge, long, successful career. I'm 24 years here at Channel 2, and you spent 24 years at Rochester Regional, leaving there as the COO. 24 years, that's a long time in one place. Tell me about your experience in Rochester.
Well, first of all, an incredible place to start and continue my career. I had a really unique experience there in being able to grow up in one health system. And so I've started off there they were actually one of my clients at Price Waterhouse. And so upon the birth of my twins, decided to leave public accounting and move into a different type of job where I wasn't traveling as much, and really started my career on the financial side at Rochester Regional, and had a chance to really be the financial leader of each one of the different types of affiliates we had at Rochester Regional, which included 5 different hospitals, home health, long-term care. And so was able, in the comfort of one family, really be able to learn a lot about the business. And then about in 2010, was offered the opportunity to really move out of the financial roles into the operational side of the business. And I draw a circle around that, Scott, because it was really a transformational moment for me, a transformational point in my career, because I really thought that I knew a lot about healthcare until I went and was standing shoulder to shoulder with the physicians and the nurses and really seeing how we provide care from a completely different perspective. So it's one thing to be in the business from the support side in the finance area. It's a whole nother thing to really see the care that's delivered at the bedside and all the challenges that come with it. And, you know, it's an incredible honor and a challenge to care for the community in what's probably some of their most vulnerable moments. You know, that's an incredible responsibility. And to see how our physician leaders, our nurse leaders, and our clinical staff handle that each and every day, it was a total relearning of what I thought about the healthcare, my healthcare career. So it was really inspirational.
So well said, Bob. Really, you're right. It's some of their most vulnerable times that families have and individuals have. Then in 2019, you get a phone call, I believe. It possibly might have been from Jody LeMayo, the former CEO of Kaleida, I'm not sure, somebody who's a good friend of mine and very well-respected executive here in Western New York. 2019, you decide to up and leave, and you come here to Buffalo. You shuffle off back to your hometown.
Yeah, it was a point in my life where my 5 daughters, my last one was leaving for college, and although I just talked about how I loved working at Rochester Regional for those 24 years, I thought it was time for us to consider another chapter. And honestly, I started looking away from New York State first of all. But I really had a chance to meet Jody probably 2 years prior to that, and was watching from down the highway all the great things that were going on here at Kaleida. And I was really attracted to the things that they were doing. And so, and really, honestly, coming to work with him was one of the major attractors, along with the rest of the executive team. So when the opening did occur, you know, I actually reached out to him, and it was just a nice time for me to transition from Rochester back to Buffalo, come back home, and really help Kaleida succeed also.
I know they did a national search when Jody decided that he was going to leave, and Frank Kirchie and all the other executives, they finally said, you know what, our guy is right here. He's within our 4 walls right now. What was it like when you got tapped to become the CEO of what is, I believe, probably the largest employer in Western New York, maybe next to UB?
Absolutely. It was humbling. It's humbling to lead this organization for all the reasons I talked about. You know, we're one of the largest charitable assets in Western New York, and we're charged with the incredible responsibility of taking care of the health of this community. And so, you know, to lead that endeavor, to lead that effort, you know, is an incredible opportunity. I also think that it's great to follow a great leader like Jody. And so Jody did so much to really help Kaleida really grow and gain scale, and did a lot for you know, the performance of Kaleida over his 6 to 7 years here. And so for me to have the opportunity to come in and work with him and really see how he ran the team and be able to go through a very smooth transition, it was all very well planned by the board and by Jody himself. And so it really worked out well for me.
So I would be remiss if I didn't talk about all the challenges that healthcare has had over the last 14, 15 months with an unprecedented pandemic and COVID. financially, it had to have been extremely difficult for Kaleida and all your different divisions, just the cost of PPE that you would never have expected. What were some of the largest challenges that you had over the last 14, 15 months?
Well, the challenges have been many, but let me start, first of all, just recognizing the great work that everybody at Kaleida in Western New York and across our country has done in dealing with what's been an incredible unknown. We knew so little about COVID back in March and April of last year. Just really having to navigate that, watching the personal courage by our clinical leaders in navigating that, truly inspiring. And so I think that we as an organization performed very well and showed a great amount of resiliency, just reacting to some of the challenges that you just outlined, the ability to get PPE, decide what was the right PPE in order to keep our patients safe and our employees safe was incredibly important. And we learned so much, and as we went through the first wave and into the second wave, I'm proud of the way that we internalized some of the learnings. And so let me give you an example, Scott. Is the first time we really shut down a lot of care in March and April because we were really focused on taking care of the COVID patients and wanted to do that safely for everybody. But you know what? Shutting off care and really people being afraid to come into the hospital, that has different set of ramifications. And so people delay care, people delay diagnostic care, and that can have problems in the long run. So what we did was we really learned how to keep our COVID patients safe, keep our employees safe, and figured out how to open ourselves back up to the non-COVID patients and keep them safe also as we went through the second wave that was in the fourth quarter of 2020. And so that was incredibly important, and it was a sort of a pivot for us as we continued to learn more about the virus and how it impacts us. So I think we've done an incredible job of maintaining what I call dual systems of care, safely being able to take care of the COVID patients and safely being able to care for the non-COVID patients, all while keeping our team members safe.
That is amazing what you guys have been able to do. I know that last summer I had some major back surgery during the COVID times, those months when it was at its peak, and everything was handled just perfectly at a Kaleida hospital. So all of your associates, everyone on the front lines there have done such an exceptional job under your leadership. So I want to just give you big kudos there also. Let me ask you, where do you live? People love to know, are you a North Towns guy or a South Towns guy or a city guy?
I'm still figuring that out right now. We just recently sold our home in Rochester. That took about a year, and so in October we sold there. I've been living since the middle of 2019 in an apartment downtown, and I have to say, Scott, before actually moving downtown in Rochester, I had a bunch of friends that had moved from the suburbs to downtown Rochester, and I had some conversations with my wife that said, hey, I don't think I'd ever be interested in doing that. But coming here and really seeing all that downtown has to offer and actually living downtown, it's been wonderful. Really enjoy, I'm a little bit of a biker. I like to really take my bike out and ride along the water. And so many accessible bike paths and just the restaurants down here, being able to walk to them. And quite frankly, I walk to work. It's about an hour, about a mile and a half. And so it's just nice and convenient for me. So I really enjoyed being downtown. Longer term, not sure whether we are interested in buying a house in the South Towns or the North Towns. Coming from the South Towns, they're probably in a leader position, but also have been exploring up in the North Towns also.
Very good. And are you a Bills Sabers fan? Are you a baseball fan, basketball fan? What do you like to do on the weekends? I know you said you like to ride your bikes. What else do you like to do?
Well, I'm a diehard Bills and Sabers fan, and so I always have been. When I was living in Rochester, it's sort of funny. People always ask me, where are you from? And would ask my kids where they're from. And I trained my kids to say, even though they were born in Rochester, that they were born in Buffalo, just that fierce Buffalo pride. So love to take in some sporting events. Also like to get out and hear some live performances of some music. Like to golf, I like to be an occasional fisherman also. So I was just down in Cattaraugus Creek a couple weekends ago trying to catch some trout, but didn't go very well for me, Scott.
We love to get to know you that way. That's great. I love brook trout also. A couple more questions, then I'll let you go. I appreciate your time. What is it that you love about your hometown of Buffalo? What do you love about Western New York?
Absolutely the people. I think the people from Buffalo are unique, and so very loyal. I think, whether we've been brought together and bonded together because of we're sort of an underdog, and as a city, I think that you see a lot of genuine pride, and you especially see when you bump into somebody from Buffalo when you're down south. I don't think other people call out, their hometowns quite the way Buffalonians do. And so, you'll strike up a conversation, in the moment, just and here, I'm proud to be from West Seneca. Oh, I'm from Williamsville. And it's you can feel that pride in any type of the interactions that you have. It's the city of good neighbors for a good reason, because I think that we take care of each other. And so that's why I'm so happy to be back in this community. It just feels right.
Bob, I told you it would be 20 minutes of your busy time. It's exactly 20 minutes. I can't thank you enough for taking the time to join us today on Get to Know. We have gotten to know you and your wife, Marlene, and a little bit more about Kaleida, and we really appreciate your time. I want to congratulate you once again for being in the Buffalo Business First Power 250 Top 10 this year.
Well, thank you very much, Scott. It's been a real pleasure.
My pleasure, too. Thank you.